This is my Mitsubishi Evo 8 and today we're going to cover everything that I don't like on this car. Okay guys, so starting with number one, the first thing I don't like about the Evo is actually in the engine bay, and it is this. The battery. Okay, so the problems for me with the battery, guys, is this. When we look in the engine bay, I just think the battery looks too big, and you can actually get a PC680, I think that's the name, where the battery is a lot smaller, and then you turn it 90 degrees and it sits this way. So it's going to give you a lot more room to do stuff in the engine bay to start with. It's going to look a lot cleaner, and also if you want to do what I want to do over time, which is change this to a teal blow-off valve, you need to do that because the teal blow-off valve stems off from here, so the battery will actually be in the way. You do have one other option though, and that is actually to relocate the battery to the boot. Now that's obviously not something that I would do because I'm going to end up taking my little boy to car shows, and we do take him about in the Evo already. The problem is I don't want a pram or something flying around the boot and smacking into my battery. So for me, eventually when I decide to do it and change over to a teal blow-off valve, that upper boost pipe will change, that blow-off valve will come here, and I will have to obviously then get this to turn, and it will just look nicer in the engine bay. So that is why, number one, the thing I don't like on the Evo is the battery, how it sits, and that position, and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so number two, guys, is bringing us into the car, and the problem for me next is this bad boy. So the problem here is that sometimes when I start the car up, the car just feels a bit clunky in first and reverse. So it won't go into first, or you kind of have to take it out and put it back in. And reverse is the main problem. First start up, and when it's not warm, I try to reverse it out the garage, and it's 3 or 4 attempts. I have to remove the clutch and then go back on, and eventually it will go into reverse. But if I try to do it now once the car's warm, it's fine. Oh, really? You're going to play like that with me now, are you? Oh, brilliant. So I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's an Evo 8 thing. I've had the car checked, gearbox is fine, oils are fine, everything's good. I don't know if it just needs to be warmed up a little, but that is number two for me, is that this thing just in first and reverse sometimes just does not want to play ball. Okay, so number three is this bad boy. And I love the Evo 9 bumper. Now, whether it was produced or not at the time, I don't know, but I think the Evo 9 bumper is so much better than the Evo 8. So the problem for me here, guys, is this. When you come around to the front of the Evo, it's got this kind of like slightly aggressive but really nice kind of like look to it, and the curves, and then it kind of comes round. You've got these really nice lines and this, that and the other. And then when there was the Evo 8 on there, if you look at some of my older videos, it was literally just flat and it looked boring. But then you go and put the 9 on, and those curves and those lines continue, and they go into the diffuser, and it just looks perfect. It just looks so much better. So number three for me is going to be that if it was produced, or they should have done it, the Evo 8 should have come up with that bumper like you've got there, which is the Evo 9. Now some people might say I'm picking at straws on number 4, kind of following on from number 3, and that was that I wish the Evo 8s had the same quality turbo. And I'm not saying the Evo 8 turbo is bad, but the Evo 9 turbo is a better turbo, we all know that. So it'd be nice if the Evo 8 had the Evo 9 turbo. So if it was in production or something like that, then it would have been nice. And that does feel like I'm just picking at stuff here because I think this car is awesome, so I'm trying to find little faults. So the Evo 9 turbo would have been a great turbo to have on the 8, and obviously it's why a lot of people do the upgrade. The reason I've not done it is because if I do an engine build, it will have to come off, so I'd rather save my money for something bigger down the line. But that is going to be number 4, that I wish the Evo 8 came with a turbo like an Evo 9. Obviously if it wasn't in production, then that's not something you can help, and like I say, it might just be me picking at straws because I love this car so much. Okay guys, so we're coming to number 5, the final thing, and don't really have anything that really bugs me, because I love this car and I think it's absolutely amazing. But you know what, I'm going to try and give you something. I've been picky with number 3 and 4, so I'm going to give you a few other little things that you might find with the Evo if you decide to get one, or if you've got one, that also relate to you. And the first one would be that parts can be a little bit expensive, but we need to remember the Evo is becoming a little bit more of a rare car. For example, these weather strips here that run all the way from here all the way to the back of the window are 150 quid each side, and then you've got to buy clips as well, which is £40, so that's £340 for those. And the only other thing that I can think of that would be a little bit helpful for some of you if you're thinking of buying one is that actually the rear seats don't flatten. So if you need to carry something somewhere and it's going to be your only car, the rear seats don't flatten in this car, which is a little bit annoying. It's not been a problem for me, but it could be a problem for some of you. But like I say guys, there we go. They are my 4/5 things that I don't really like about the Evo, and they're the things I would change. But apart from that, it's an absolutely stunning car, and I would not change it for the world, because when we think about it, especially things like price for parts and maintenance, these aren't actually that bad to run. And when you compare it to an R35 GTR, for example, which I spoke about in my last video about getting, a gentleman who I know actually told me that he spent on discs, pads, tyres and a full service for an R35 cost him £5 grand. And I can tell you now guys, that isn't what it is for one of these, which is why I absolutely love this car, because they are affordable. You can pick one up for like 18 to maybe 20 grand, which is in good condition at the moment, especially like a 7, 8 or 9. You can pick up, you know, probably a 4, 5, 6, or I've seen even the 1, 2 and 3s going even a little bit cheaper than that, but they're absolutely amazing cars. So I would recommend one all day long. I absolutely love it, and if you want to get into JDM guys, I think they're a perfect car to start with for maintenance, the cost and the fun that you will get out of it for the car that it is. So guys, there we go. They are my 5 things that I dislike about the Evo. Hopefully you found it useful. As always, please like, comment, share, subscribe. Get this channel to 1,000 subs. That is the next goal. You guys are supporting me so well. Let me know what content you want to see next. Get subscribed. It's going to help me in the channel. But until next time guys, peace out.